can you set up a paragraph of text and a button underneath so that when you click on the button, the text fades away? Did you manage it? I hope you did something like this. I'll do my classic, this is some text in my paragraph, and then I'll use a button. I'll give it an ID this time. Call it fader. Fade out will be the content of the button. And then I want to run my function when the fader button is clicked. And I want to fade out the paragraph. Let's take a look. Fade out works great. Okay, hope you managed to do something similar with your website. This time we're going to look in a bit more detail at the fade out function. So let's just first of all have a look at the jQuery docs. So if you search for any jQuery function, then you'll be sent to the jQuery page by Google. And they're extremely useful. So if ever I mention a function or you want to find out more about a particular function that we're working with, this is the place to go. So you've got all the attributes, all the possibilities that you can use this function with, and then some really great examples about how the function works, and they're live examples as well. So you can actually play with them and see how they work right there and then on the file, on the website. So I definitely recommend taking a look at that whenever you want to find out more about a function. But for now, we're just going to do a couple of things with this function. So we're going to first of all set up a second button that will allow us to fade the text back in. And that's fairly easy to do. We'll copy and paste the text of this button. And we'll call the new one fader in. And we'll change the text to fade in. Right, quick challenge for you then. Can you make it so that when we click on the fader in button, then the text is faded back in? I hope you managed it. I'm just going to copy this text here. We'll copy that code. And this time we want to select the fader in button. And instead of fading out the paragraph, we want to fade it in. So now we've got two buttons there. Of course, if I click the fade in button now, nothing will happen because the text is already there. The paragraph is already showing, so it doesn't need to fade in. But if I fade it out first, I can then fade it back in nice and easily. Great. Okay, the last thing we're going to see on this section is how to change some of the properties of this function. So first of all, we're going to change the speed of the fade. And that's pretty easy to do. We just put a number into the brackets, which will be the number of milliseconds that the fade out takes to complete. So 2000 milliseconds is equal to 2 seconds. So that's a nice slow fade. Let's fade it out. There we go. So a really slow fade there. If you want it to be a very fast fade, you could make it 50 milliseconds. And that's almost instantaneous as far as we're concerned. You can also use words such as fast. So a fast fade out is something like that. And you can use slow as a slow fade out. So we're changing the attributes of this function here so that it behaves in a slightly different way. Now the last thing we're going to do is to run a separate function when the fade out has completed. And this is known as a callback function. So the fade out will begin, and then when the fade out finishes, the script will call back the function that we want to run when the script is complete. So how do we do that? Well, we put a comma after our slow instruction. So we want to have a slow fade out, and then when that's completed, we want to run a function like that, and the content of the function will then go inside curly brackets in the usual way. So we've got, it's very similar to the click function up there. It's just a callback function that we do when the fade out is complete. So for now, we'll just alert fade out complete. See if that works. Brilliant. There we go. So that's a good JavaScript general principle, is working with callback functions to complete a particular task or function when another task or function completes.